So moving right along, our next presenter is Jacob Boyle and Dal Hunter from Jacobs from Seneca Resources. So I'm going to welcome them to the stage. Guys, it's all yours.
All right, thanks, Adam. So last year, we were fortunate to have Seneca Resources come and share with us really the early success they had in deploying location across their entire organization. They shared with us the GIS staff, their roles, and really how GIS had been used historically at Seneca. As far as the roles, keeping databases running, keeping it tuned, making sure that they're fulfilling those map requests, as General Gibbs pointed out as well. Seneca has that same issue, which probably many of you do. And so really what changed, and it was in the early stages, Seneca had made ArcGIS available to their whole organization. They set up a portal, created groups that represented their lines of business. They created key maps, like production maps or land lease maps, made those available to their users, and really enabled self-service mapping. Users could add to those maps. They could really compose and build their own maps. They could leverage the key maps, or they could build theirs from scratch. And finally, they configured off-the-shelf applications, such as operations dashboards and web applications. And really what that did, it really opened the eyes, not only I think to the GIS staff of what was possible, but to the whole organization. So we thought it'd be great for Jacob to come back a year later, inform you of what's transpired in that last year, what's going on at Seneca, and what they're going to be doing in the future. Because that initial, it was about 3 months in, maybe three to 6 months early on. And I like to think that was their initial operating capability. They got everything up and ready, made it available to the organization. So I'm really excited, Jacob, to hear what's happened in the past year.
Sure. Dal, to go over some of the numbers, we created groups for every department, but in addition to those groups that exist, there have been 73 private groups established within our portal for sharing across companies, or across departments rather. And there have been over 5,500 user-created items since Portal's deployment 15 months ago. I think that's fantastic. That means of those 5,500, maps, layers, importing CSV files, things like Jack was discussing earlier today. And we've gone to roughly 250,000 transactions a day in server from under 100,000. So, I mean, just to indicate the traffic increase,
well, that's
impressive
exponential. Because that means really that it truly is being used across your organization.
Absolutely.
So, thanks, Jacob.
So, we've really had a growth across the company. GIS usage has increased exponentially. Users are allowed and have the ability to create their own web maps for meetings and support themselves now. And this has really got people thinking, and this is my common and favorite question, can we do this? So some of the things we've done this year, as I've said, some fantastic web maps, user-created content. What you're looking at here is one of our target areas. All the pipeline data on here is user-created. We are utilizing some excellent web templates from Esri, such as the summary viewer. And again, more user-generated content. Our pipeline program is almost completely managed now within Portal. They are designing, they are doing all of their pre-planning in Portal now, and they share it across the private group within the organization. And the great thing about this is instead of it being an iterative process where they're sketching something on a map, handing it back to the GIS department, back and forth, once they get everything finalized, these can then be opened in ArcMap, copied and pasted right into our pipelines layer as the person intended them to be done. And we've also done some really high quality data over the last year. We've produced a cartographic quality 5-foot contours for the entire state of Pennsylvania to use for mapping. This is derived from a state product called PA Map LiDAR program. We've also done some other things. Like I said, Portal is the backbone of GIS and spatial in the company. It's really becoming the backbone of sharing information as much as SharePoint is, or even more so. We really like it. It's easy. It's secure. We can share it outside. Company employees can use it off-site. We can share data with contractors and other agencies that we work with. Everything's HTML and JavaScript now. We've gotten completely off of Flash as of last week, actually. And senior management has embraced GIS to the point that they allowed us last year to hire a private company to fly all of our acreage in Pennsylvania. That was 7,500 square miles in Pennsylvania, which is a huge investment on our part to have high quality imagery. We worked with Esri's team to develop a strategic workforce development plan. And we're really working hard with our counterparts in other divisions on integrating data from things like well view, rig view. We're working with geology more and more, working on bringing data from geographics and other products. So some of the highlights of things we've done this year. One of the projects we launched this year was a sign inventory program. Using the GeoForm web template, we created an administrative panel that allows our office workers to create a new record for a well, or for a sign rather, and then input the location that they want the sign. And then on the other side, our field workers use Collector to both take pictures of the sign in location, do inspections. If there's any quality issues with the sign, they can indicate them if there's issues like it's missing or whatnot. So the two pieces both tie into Portal, all point to the same data, and allow all of our employees that work out in the field and contractors to input information. And another product we've worked with Valarm, for those of you that were here last year, they're a real-time monitoring company. We worked on a pilot project with them, and I'm going to be highlighting this tomorrow in another discussion, but I wanted to give a little bit of an overview today. So we went out, we installed pond water level sensors in 3 ponds as a pilot project. We worked with Esri on developing 3D models and extrapolating that information into pond volumes by level. And then using that information tied to the sensor readouts, we are able to produce a real-time value of the volume of water in the pond, and then we can actually do it down to the quarter foot. So it's a really accurate, gives us a really accurate picture of something we really didn't have before. And this is going to be part of an ongoing project for this year that we're going to be working on with Alarm. We're going to complete, we were very satisfied with the results of this initial project. So we're going to do this across the state of Pennsylvania and all of our freshwater ponds, our freshwater storage ponds. We're also working with them on sound and weather monitoring. Pennsylvania, some townships have sound ordinances, and that applies to our drilling operations. So we want to do real-time sound monitoring so we can have a complete picture of what the sound levels are around our sites during drilling. And we're also going to do weather monitoring because weather impacts sound drastically. So we want to capture both sets of information, so we have all that. We use GeoForce trackers for our high-value assets. They're satellite trackers. We want to integrate that into Geo events. I was hoping to have that done before we came out here, but unfortunately we didn't quite get there yet. We're working on a dynamic emergency response plan, an incident management dashboard, and some spill analysis tools for EHS. Working on a COGO tool for the land department to be able to sketch out deeds and look at them on a map. Part of the pond monitoring project ties into an overall plan for a water usage forecasting. Water is one of our most expensive resources for drilling, so we want to be able to have a better operating picture, and that's going to allow us to have more efficiency there and hopefully save the company a lot of money. We're also working on a lot of other things, well log viewer, AFE dashboard, and we're working on integrating a waterware SCADA system into GIS to provide more real-time information about production. So that's not my slide.
So Jacob, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
So you have a lot of interesting projects that you're looking forward to doing, and Rick mentioned it, and I mentioned it about the map requests. Has that reduced for you guys since implementing ArcGIS?
Absolutely. I would say safe bet. I don't know where the people went from my company that are here with me, but at least a 50% decrease in map requests.
I mean, I see all the projects that you have there listed for this year, and that just is an indicator to me that you're getting to do some more of those things. You have skilled professionals that have the skill set and the tools, and now you're really able to apply their time to those projects.
Right. We have a very dedicated and skilled GIS and geomatics department. Up until the past couple of years, we probably spent way more time than we should have making maps. Those skill sets were being wasted. And now with Portal, it's freed up time for us to work on more things and things that will benefit the company a lot more than just people making maps in a room.
Great. One other question I have for you, because I get asked this a lot. You licensed, or you made every user in your organization. You gave them access, you made them user. Why
Right.
was that?
Well, you wouldn't limit people to using Word, so why would you block people from using GIS? GIS is too powerful a tool to limit anybody from using, in my opinion. So the conscientious decision was made to make sure we have enough licenses for everybody to use. And we're at about 75% utilization in the company.
Good. I know that, I've known you for a while now, that really a lot of those ideas, things that you probably didn't even know your users were thinking about doing, came
Right.
forth because of that.
Right, and not only that, but it got the users thinking about things that they weren't thinking about before. So we're seeing a lot more trends towards doing spatial analysis and working with the spatial data as opposed to people trying to analyze and look at Excel spreadsheets and try to extrapolate information when that spatial picture can illuminate a lot more information for you.
All right. Well, excellent, Jacob. I really appreciate you coming back and sharing with us again this year. I really like that term Geo-Surge too.
Thanks.
I know it's exploded throughout your organization, so that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks again for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Well, there's, like Dal, I love that term, Geo-Surge. I think I'm going to have to use that. That's Jacob's, but we'll have to put it somewhere. So there's some key things that I like about that presentation, and I wrote 4 of the things that I took out of Jacob's presentation here. A lot of what they're doing is about empowering their employees and their constituents. So really, Jacob implemented this platform and implemented all this technology. And you might think, well, there's a lot of work to do that and get that implemented. My work's kind of done. It's really just beginning. Once you install and enable and get everybody using something, it's this surge, like he describes, of people wanting more. Can I do a map that does this? Can I see this? Can I see that? They're also doing a pretty amazing job of integrating and identifying their key business systems and figuring out ways to better leverage their investments in those business systems with location in ArcGIS.